Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us tonight on episode 27, season 7 of the Standoff with Brad and Richie here on New Zealand Sport Radio. We're here live on Wednesdays on Facebook and YouTube throughout the season. Evening, Richie. Well, what a weekend of footy, mate. The Warriors survived a brief scare to beat the Rabbitohs, and the Tigers did us a favour by getting an upset over the Roosters, which means the Warriors end the weekend in first place. How are you, and what do you think of the round?
Love the round, mate. Love the round. Yeah, we did our end of the bargain, and the Tigers somehow. I've never ridden a neutral game so hard. It was edge of the seat for that one. But yeah, awesome, man. I can't believe it, but it really sets us up. We were just talking about it before jumping on. We set up so well. We just need to, not blow it on the last two. But yeah. Anyway, you're looking good. I like the shirt.
Thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. It was the same. I was sitting right where I am now, finishing off my review to go up on the Monday, watching the Tigers game. And yeah, right in the edge of my seat. It looked a bit scary when the Roosters started coming back. But yeah, they had enough to do what needed to be done. And I think I did say it in my review, saying like, this is the time where they are on the ladder, how they've been going. It's a time as Warriors fans get excited, but not for the team to get excited. The team, you still got a job to do. So let us, think of the what ifs and what could happen. And if they just focus like they have been, which, with Fish and Webby and that there, I'm sure they will,
They're aligning the way they haven't before, hey?
Yeah.
Knocking off all sorts of firsts and results are just aligning. Yeah, there's a couple of things I feel like could ruin it, and I won't say them aloud. I'm not putting that out in the universe. Yeah.
Yeah, they just got to, I think I said it's the cliche, one game at a time, they got a game this week against the Knights, get through that, hopefully with no more injuries, and just keep going.
Still plenty of water to go under the bridge.
Definitely. But while we're here live on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m, you can also catch our show at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. As always, we're going to cover everything you need to know on the week that was rugby league, including our top stories of the week, a review of the round 25 matches. We'll then take a look at the ladder, my fantasy team, and the tipping comp. We'll then answer some questions from you guys as well as questions we've got for each other. We'll then preview round 26, go over the Warriors team named to play the Knights, and send everyone on their way. So remember to send us comments and questions throughout the show. We may as well jump straight in, Matt. Oh, and Jagger said Madden should be made an honorary warrior.
Well,
yeah.
He stung us earlier in the year, but given what he's done weekend just gone, I forgive him. All is forgiven.
He's made up for it. But yeah, first one, mate, it keeps developing. Adam Reynolds is officially retired, effective immediately. I watched the first interview he made, where he said he was basically very keen to play, but the medical team and the Broncos have decided against it as they didn't want him to potentially have his final game going off injured. He then did more interviews to say, no, that's not what I meant. This was my decision. Madge and the Broncos didn't want to not let me play.
Sounds
I don't know who to believe. Yeah, it sounds like he's got a job at the end of this with the Broncos and their coaching staff. So we know what Madge is like if you criticize him in public. So, he probably just wants to keep his job, mate. But there's a story in a little bit about another player and what their team's doing to honour him. I still live of the opinion, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but that grand final probably should have been Reynolds' last game. He's been battling all year. The injuries haven't been that kind to him. So I can get it, but they're not in a situation where they need to win. Obviously they want to win, but they're not going to keep their finals hopes alive. So I feel like giving him the chance to play well, and say goodbye. Like, I think I said it to you and Ruin Hammer in that, like, if it was a similar situation when Johnson finished and against the Doggies, that last home game, they're like, we don't want to run the risk of you getting hurt and going off and like what a horrible run. It would have been disservice to everyone there. Like I think I spoke about it afterwards, how emotional that night was for me and other people. They're getting to see him for the last time. I think the Broncos fans, as much as we dislike them, mate, I think they deserve that opportunity. And yeah, it's just you never get to choose how you go out, but I feel like sitting in the stands watching your team play when you're perfectly healthy isn't the way to go. But what's your thoughts, mate? I see, Jason said no one has their story straight, and that's it. We don't know who to believe at the moment. But yeah, your thoughts,
especially since he's club captain. For me, it makes it even weirder. He's pretty much helped change the culture of that club from a team that won wooden spoon in the COVID times, and helped turn it around to a prelim the next year, grand final, like a year or two after, and then they've a couple of years later won it, broken very long-standing drought. So they've got no shot this year. What's the harm in naming him, starting him at halfback and captaining him?
Yeah, there's a chance he might get injured, might hurt himself, but you've got Ben Hunt there. It's not like it's going to destroy the team, and they're kind of used to him going out.
Ben Hunt said he would have stepped aside, right?
Yeah. And it kind of flows in. There was I didn't add it to it, but we may as well bugger it. There was some posts on social media kind of having a go at Madge. I think it might have been 360 or something, having a go at Madge and Broncos for not letting him play, and Reece Walsh liked it. He quickly unliked it. We've seen what happened when you go against Madge before, but that's an aging Marty Tapau versus kind of the big star of the Broncos, Reece Walsh. So I think Reece Walsh will be fine.
Madge already got grilled about that on the media too, didn't he?
He did, and he said that it
was. Yeah. He said there was a difference, but I didn't really hear him describe that difference.
I think what was said about him in this one was worse than what Elijah Taylor said in the other one. I don't think he actually read or listened to what Elijah said. Elijah didn't really criticize Madge. He just said, like, Madge's style can be a tough thing to adjust to, but if you get in there and adjust to him, you're going to succeed. And I think that one was better than the one saying, like, he's lost the plot and he needs to have more respect for Adam Reynolds. So I feel like that one was worse, but it's all falling apart. And Jacko said Madge will be gone round 8 next year. And full drama of the Broncos organization. Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving for someone like yourself, mate, who doesn't really like that club. Before we move into the next one, we did have a comment saying Tamati's face-to-face interview was well done. I actually watched it before we jumped on tonight.
I have not. It's on my hit list. Probably watch it after this.
And Jack. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Jagger said it was good, but they didn't really go into any depth. Yeah. It didn't go into the deep dives, but it was a good overview of, his story and, what he becoming basically a full-time hunter in that time when he had to retire and then coming back, and then Webby giving him a call to come to the Warriors and things like that. And it was a good insight, and he just seems like such a down-to-earth guy. It was good to see. Good to see them give him a bit of love, because it's a hell of a story that he's had, and potentially touching wood, he goes from a couple of years ago he was never going to play again, and he could be potentially the number 7 that wins the Warriors their first grand final. Maybe. That's a hell of a story. But yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, anyone here, check it out. It's on YouTube and everything now. So, but yeah, we'll move on to the next one, mate. Tui Kamika, always butcher his name. Apologies. He's also announced his retirement based on medical grounds. I think we spoke about it quite a while ago. He was desperate to fight his way back. Looks like it's just not going to happen. So he was out with the team last week doing his waving to the crowd and stuff. And yeah, terrible way to go out. But I'm not sure what he will be thinking of. It's probably way too early in the cards for him to have been thinking of life after footy. But yeah, sad to see him go out like that. And the Storm have got a terrible run at the moment with their forwards. But yeah, your thoughts on Tui?
Oh no, it's just sad. I seen the videos of him announcing it, and he's quite emotional, as you could appreciate. So he's been there for some good times with the Storms. So yeah, wish him all the best. It's not the coolest way to go. You always want to go out on your own terms, but yeah. Felt pretty sorry for him.
Yeah, now next one, mate. In the polar opposite of the Broncos, the NRL and RLPA have announced that they've approved a proposal from the Rabbits, which will see Jai Arrow reach 100 games. He will be starting the final 2 games of the season, and the NRL have allowed it to be a free interchange so that he can come straight off after kickoff, and he'll sit on the bench for the rest of the match. And he'll get those 2 games that will take him to 100. We talked about it briefly today, and I said it is the polar opposite of the Broncos. Admittedly, they're not expecting Jai to actually take a hit up or anything like that, but I think it's just a really classy thing to do. It would be agonizing. I know he's got more things to be concerned with than a number of games he played in the NRL, but to be so close to 100, you'd be like, oh. But yeah, I think it's just a touching gesture that I haven't seen anyone opposed to since it was announced. You haven't heard anyone complain. I did see a few people like you, mate, that like to do risque comments on the old Facebooks.
Not on this one. I certainly didn't. Don't. You're not talking about me, right?
I know you didn't. No, you didn't. But I saw some where they're like, I'd kick it straight to him. And things like that. But yeah, I just think it's a great message, and
that's awesome. Yeah, it really is. It's devastating what he's going through, and to hear him say just this week that it's progressing. I'm sure he's feeling the love from like South's being his club, and he's feeling it from all circles of the rugby league and sport community over these ways. So, yeah.
It'll be great to see this week against the Titans, a former club of his. Yeah, and there's a comment here saying he said the disease has gotten so bad that he can't even run anymore. Yeah. I was actually, I think we talked about it when we first announced it. When we heard about it, I was like, that it's terrible, and then seeing him actually speak for the first time and like how it had already progressed that far, and we've seen it in the UK with was it Rob Burrow? Yeah. How it just went through him really quick, and all the stuff. Yeah, Carl Webb as well. There was so many, and seeing all the stuff they did in the Super League for Rob was quite touching. So it's good to see Jai getting some love too. And yeah, it'd be great watching his final 2 games. But yeah, it's been a bit of a downer with all these retirements, mate. We'll try to move on. Next one, mate. We'll move into happiness a little bit. Daily Telegraph reported that the NRL is going to announce the next expansion team by Christmas this year, and they'll join the comp in 2029. And Volandis also said that the NRL expansion will not stop at 20, and he envisions a future with conferences.
I get a bit scared by that. The second part of that,
the conferences, yeah.
That it won't stop at 20.
Yeah, I can see a world where you get more than 20 if it keeps growing. But you don't want to see it to the point. Like, I know, like, I'm big into my American football, right? Got my Mighty Giants helmet above me over there. They've got 1 million teams, and there's like 4 or 5 that you consider contenders.
That's a quality.
When you team, how many Ram Raiders? Yeah, I did hear the rumors and the conspiracy around that. It might have been James CTE Graham that said it, so I don't know if you take it by word, but there's a lot of talk recently about a team from Hamilton um, interested, and the conspiracy. Yeah, Jay said someone said Hamilton was looking at putting in a team. Surely it was fake news. The conspiracy around it, which I think is all bullshit, is that there's a lot of issues at the moment between the NRL and New Zealand Rugby about the Chiefs name, and they reckon the conspiracy is that Hamilton's going to get it, and they will give them the rights to use Chiefs, even though they haven't got it copyrighted for rugby league. Yeah, I think that's crock shit. They'll be fine to use it anyway, but Hamilton makes no sense to me as the next team. It's got to be South Island if it's in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Next thing would be Wellington. I think Wellington's far enough away, but I think North Island versus South Island for like the rivalry for the Warriors just makes all the sense in the world.
That's the only narrative I'll buy into for a second NZ team.
Yeah. But yeah, I think at the moment it sounds like it's Christchurch or Ipswich. So that seems to be it. They must be getting close if they're going to say in like 4 months they're going to announce who it is. So yeah, your thoughts more on the 20 in the conference, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Is there enough talent to spread between that many teams? You know, I get scared enough with the number at 20, and then the conference thing is yeah. I don't want it wandering too far from NRL rugby league tradition when it comes to sort of competition format. Small tweaks, you know, once we get to 20 teams, then each 20 rounds, each team can play each other once. And then home games rotate the following year. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm all for the 20 for the fact that if you can change the draw. Like, play everyone once. I know they like having the certain games twice, but if you play everyone once, bring it down. You're playing less games, but there's more games to watch. And then maybe that's when you can, like we've talked about before, you have that break for Origin and you bring in internationals and things like that. I could see that, but yeah, the player, like we're looking at now, you got PNG are using their wallets to get all the players they want, and Perth is struggling to get getting players. So throw in a few more teams. What's going to happen? We'll just have to wait and see. They need to make sure all the clubs are working on their pathways, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we got Jacko talking about it early. League tradition is damn near dead. They're trialing changing kickoff rule now, which was my next news, mate.
Exactly. I hate that too.
Yeah, the NRL's looking to set. They're going to trial the game. As they said, they wanted to trial in a game that doesn't matter, and it's going to be the grand final rematch, mate, which, you know, boggles the mind. Storm Broncos. So it's the rule where the team that gets scored against can pick if they receive the ball or if they kick the ball. We'll see. I think it was Fittler. I watched Fittler and Joey talk about it, and Fittler was talking about the situations you would use it. Where he said, like, maybe, you know, you think of the Tigers-Roosters game, mate, when the Roosters were storming back and they got that try, the Tigers could say, well, bugger it, you're kicking to us. And then you try to keep the ball off the Roosters to stop the comeback. I don't agree with it. We might even see that they don't even try to use it.
I hope they just play it like a traditional match. Honestly, I can't stand it. It's like the Super League back in the day. A choice for starters. If you're getting, if you're getting your ass handed to you, you work your way out of it. You got to come up with a way to change the momentum, but not by gifting them. It would be funny for a backfire. Team gets scored on, they ask to receive, and then
they drop the ball or something.
Short kickoff, or the team does a short kickoff and gets it back. That would be funny.
I think 360 said the same. Said like basically
reverse.
You're going to see more short kickoffs. If you're forced to kick in, you're like, no, bugger it, we want the ball back. You'll do more short kickoffs potentially. We'll see. We didn't like it when they tried to do it at the beginning of the year. Don't like it now.
No.
But Volandi's going to Volandi's, mate. He will push it until he gets to do what he wants. Next bit of news, mate. Sydney Morning Herald reported that Hudson Young's management have rejected the Raiders' massive extension offer. They're offering him like 1.1 a year or something. Was the rumoured numbers. He's turned it down, and his management apparently want a 1 week window to negotiate with the Chiefs before making any decisions. I think they said, to get basically the same equivalent, the Chiefs only have to pay him like $700 or $800 a year.
They do need some forwards as well.
They do need forwards, which we'll talk about when we get into signings. But yeah, be a massive loss for the Raiders, but I don't know if paying 1.1 to keep him will be worth it long term. Like, he's great for them, but that's a lot of money to spend on Hudson.
They do need some Papua New Guineans as well.
Yeah.
AJ. They got AJ.
They could get, technically, if you want to go through the loophole, you get Jack DeBellin.
Yeah.
He represents PNG at the World Cup, so. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. I know I haven't put it in here, but it sounds like Jacob Preston's accepted the terms and will stay with the Bulldogs. They did confirm it, sorry, because they did a funny social media post where it had his face and it had PNG.
Yeah.
And then, like, as it went on, it said Preston not going. And that one was actually quite clever. It was a good move by the media team at the Bulldogs. And then the Eels have changed their minds, mate, and would like to try and keep Ronald Volkman. So we talked about last week, saying it's crazy that they're willing to let him go. The moment the story came out that the Bulldogs were interested, it sounds like the Eels changed their minds. So
he's kind of forced their hand, right? I feel like he has.
I think he's been one of their more consistent performers this year, I'd say. So yeah, hopefully he gets the deal, and we'll see what it means for him next year with Jerome Luai there. If they're going to use him in some other way for that year to keep him around, or what? Because you're going to imagine it's going to be Luai Moses, right?
Yeah, you'd imagine.
Moses generally doesn't last a whole season, so you'd expect to see Bogman get a few games at 7 potentially. But yeah, we'll see. Next bit of news, mate. The Titans have granted AJ Brimson permission to negotiate with rival clubs and leave the club if he gets a new deal. Mal Meninga has already ruled the Perth Bears out, saying we probably can't afford him. So
they need
what happens. They need him. But what do you reckon about Titans wanting to let Brimson go?
It's an interesting one. I've always thought that they'd had too many similar players, all fullbacks, and trying to make them all fit. And I guess they've just made the decision that one of them has to go, and he's the one. But he's awesome on his day, and he's been played a lot at centre this year. He's probably naturally a fullback, but Kenny's sewn that up. But yeah, who needs a fullback? I'm sure there's. I mean, how sold are the Bulldogs on Connor Tracy?
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a team or two that are interested for sure. I think the Bears could find a way. And that the Bears, the NRL gave Bears that concession anyway, so they could afford him. Yeah, and Jack has said Titans signed Brimson for 4 years on about $1 million a year, and now they want to cut him. Yeah. But yeah, and we said Perth Bears apparently said they're out on Brimson. Yeah, they said they can't afford him, but it would make sense to sign him. But yeah, there'll be a team that will pick him up. I guess it's all about the cost. And that was the thing I was going to say. The PNG Chiefs were interested in getting AJ Brimson, but they want the Titans to pay some of his salary, which I think is just taking the piss. You're already getting tax-free, and then you want another club to pay some of it.
That's a lot of the cap based on backs, you know. I mean, they really haven't signed an out-and-out fullback.
They haven't signed any forwards that are worth mentioning really either. Which I think I said to you and Ruin Hammer, saying it's a hell of a back line, but how good are they going to be if they're always on the back foot because they don't have a forward pack? But yeah, we'll see, mate. Then interesting news, mate. Ahead of his pending loss at the World Cup, Kevin Walters is getting out quickly. He signed a deal for 3 years to coach at St. Helens, and he'll step down after the World Cup as Kangaroos coach. I think it's a good move for him. I don't know. A lot of them didn't really want him to be Kangaroos coach anyway. So it makes sense. And if they don't end up winning the World Cup, they'd probably get rid of him anyway. They'd probably flick him off after. So St. Helens is a respectable club up in England, and you know he's still got that desire to coach more than once a year with Australia. So you know it makes sense.
Yeah, good deal for him. And who do you think might step into that Kangaroos role?
Cameron Smith has said he's interested. He doesn't want to coach Queensland, but he would be interested in Kangaroos. Ivan Cleary sticks out for me. He said he hasn't thought about it yet, but it makes perfect sense that he would go to coach them.
He said that he would coach reps, right?
Yeah, he wants to coach reps. So it's going to be Australia or New South Wales. So I think, or New Zealand. That would be an amazing thing if he came back here, mate. But I'm sure there's more than enough people that would be interested in taking that up. Flowing on with coaches and jobs, Andrew Webster, mate. Not long after our show last week, it was announced that he's extended with the Warriors until the end of 2032. Great news. It will make him the longest running coach for the Warriors. And yeah, I think it's great. Great, one, that the Warriors are happy to extend someone out that far, and two, that Andrew Webster's more than happy enough to stay with the club and stay for that long. We know contracts aren't worth anything. Say it all goes horribly wrong in a year or two and the Warriors fall apart. The Warriors are known to drop a coach.
It's the club not making the same mistake twice, hey? This is what we should have done for Ivan Cleary.
Yeah, it is. It's making up for the mistake with Cleary. And it's best news I've heard out of them. And you know, those players have grown a connection with Webby, these young guys that potentially could be on, you know, the verge of being able to be tapped on the shoulder by another club and knowing that Webby's going to be there, long term, could help them stay here. You know, if it was a bit wishy-washy and going, maybe Webby is going to get tapped on the shoulder by one of those giant Australian clubs that would like him to turn things around, and would we lose him to that thing like going to the Panthers or the Roosters or something? But yeah, he's sticking, and
Cappy's sticking around too, or did I imagine that?
No, yeah, Cappy's been extended as well, which is great. So it's showing that the power brokers at the top of the tree at the Warriors are all staying in place and keeping things steady. Joe said, thank God Webster locked up. Last thing we need is another Cleary leaving. Yeah, I still curse Wayne Scurra every now and then for letting Ivan walk out. But very happy. You got anything else you want to add to that, mate? Or
no, just stoked, mate. I think, he's. Who was it? Someone described it as one of the biggest signing in club's history. Was it Johnson?
I think Sean. Yeah, I think Sean's it.
Agree with that. The way he's got, everyone in the organisation seems to be on board with our system, you know, and it's not just first grade. I think you got to give some credit to Cam George and everyone up at that level too, because the whole organisation's humming. So, yeah, locking up key parts of it like Webby is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's wise to do this extension now as opposed to in the off season. If the Warriors go all the way, mate, you save yourself a bit of coin. If Webby's the first coach to win a premiership here, you might have to add a couple of zeros to his deal. So yeah, get him in early. Continuing coaching talk, mate. The Rabbits have come out and said they are open to allowing Wayne Bennett coach Queensland while still keeping his job at the Rabbits. Bennett came out after that and said that he isn't looking for the Queensland job, and he will only accept it if they absolutely need him to do it. And he thinks that they should be looking at pursuing his son Darius Boyd to be the coach. So he's a pull cord in case of emergency coach. But yeah, he's trying to pass it on, pass on the family legacy.
But I think he's already closed that chapter on his legacy, you know, I guess. You never know. Never say never. If it's complete dire straits and no one stepping up.
Oh, yeah, he'll do it in a heartbeat if they asked him to. I think even Gus Gould said on one of the shows, Bennett, if you asked him to, he'd coach Queensland, coach New South Wales, coach Australia, do it all at the same time. He just loves to coach and will always put his hand up if he needed. But yeah, I guess it's, I think as Gould also said, it's bloody August and we're talking about Origin. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be some news. They've got plenty of time before they have to actually make a decision, though. Next bit of news was multiple NRL clubs have apparently reached out to Tyrell Sloan's management in case he decides to backflip on a Super League deal. He was going to, I think it's Castleford, right?
I think so.
One of the former coaches he's dealt with is the coach there, but apparently is on the verge of being kicked out of the club. And Sloan's apparently said if his coach is gone, he's not going up there. The Dragons have still reiterated that they can't keep him if he does backflip, so he'd be free to go somewhere else. I think he's way too talented to go to Super League, so I'm sure someone will pick him up. Now we've got another bit of news is saying a team from Logan has pitched themselves to become the 20th team as well.
Yep, I heard they might do that.
Yeah. But yeah, your thoughts on Sloan and if a team will grab him at the last minute if he does backflip?
Well, it depends on in Sloan's mind why he accepted a Super League deal. And did he accept it because he
had no other option?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if the clubs that have reached out are ones that might entice him, maybe he might find a way to weasel out of that contract. But yeah, we all know contracts are, they're not always that binding. We've seen them many a time.
Yeah, and when you got a new coach coming in, their game plan might not suit the players that they've signed. So it might be a point that whoever they get might say, I don't want a Sloan anyway, so yeah, let him go. And the comment said the new Warriors development would get kicked out of Logan if that became a thing. That's true, because they've got the Logan facility, don't they, the Warriors? So if Logan gets set up, they would probably have to move. But in saying that, there's a Roosters camp facility in Ellerslie. So, you could still keep it there. Jagger said Sloan to Wales, we've got too many we're signing outside backs every bloody week at the moment. There's got to be a stop at some point. But, I'm sure it'll be picked up from somewhere if it happens. Next bit of news, mate. Hugo Savala has pledged his allegiance to England for the World Cup. So he's already been pulled into their training team scheduled for when the competitions drop down. So we'll see him in the World Cup, I'm pretty sure. And the Bulldogs, mate, they've had at least 8 players catch COVID. And those players have been ordered to isolate from the rest of the group. It took over our lives for so long, I kind of forgot it was a thing.
Yeah.
When I heard it in the press, I was like, oh, shit. Okay. But yeah, so
it's a bit of a worry.
Yeah. Don't know what's going to happen for their preparations for their games. They need to keep winning. So yeah, it could be tough, but we'll see what happens. And then random story from Fox in Australia, mate. The Chiefs are rumoured to be interested in trying to secure All Black captain Ardie Savea for the 2028 season. I know he's always said he loves the NRL. There's no way in hell I see him. 2028, 2 years away. He'd still. So he might be finishing.
I feel like it would be a great signing if you were getting him around that 30 years old, and you getting 3 years out of him, then 30 through 33. But I think, yeah, they sign him for post Rugby World Cup. I think by the time he gets there, he's 34, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, so he might be winding down his All Black career anyway at that point.
He'd be a heck of a league player. It might be just a year, getting him a year too late because you wouldn't be getting the peak Ardie.
Oh, man, they're getting a lot of has-beens. They're Olympics as well, so,
They do need forwards, though. We said that.
They do need forwards, yeah.
He'd make a heck of a league prop in today's game, or a league middle.
Yeah. So we'll see. I feel like it's a tall order. I don't know if he'll do it. If he's going to, jump to an NRL team, I don't see him going to Papua New Guinea of all places. He'd be more likely to be a Warrior being in New Zealand, or if he's got some connection to a team in Australia, like a lot of these All Blacks do, where when they grew up, they weren't Warriors fans. They were like Rabbits, or I think it was Caleb Clark was a Rabbitoh fan. Or it might have been Savea. It was Savea. I think he said he wasn't a Warriors fan. He was another club. But, PNG, I don't think that seems like a likely option. But they're getting a lot of people at the moment, so who knows? And then last bit, mate, I just threw it on. We talked about briefly. The NRL's rumoured to be thinking about relocating the Sharks' home final to Allianz Stadium. And there's also noise that they might be thinking about moving the Warriors to Eden Park. Talked to you before the show. I think the Sharks one makes sense. And I know Cameron George has already come out and said the NRL haven't talked to him about it. And he has no interest in them moving to Eden Park for the finals, because that takes away from, the home field advantage of that cauldron of Mount Smart. But, yeah, your thoughts on those stadium relocations?
I agree with Cam George, but I've seen arguments to the contrary online. People in the camp of, then I'm guaranteed a ticket, so I don't care, I don't mind. But guys like you and I, and a lot of Warriors members, a lot of Warriors fans would hate it for the fact that I think it would take away a lot of the atmosphere. You would get more people in there, but the atmosphere wouldn't be as intimidating, I believe, to a visiting team.
Yeah, well, because Mount Smart, it feels like the crowd is on top of you because of how close it is. Where, at Eden Park and those other bigger cricket grounds that they play rugby in that in, you're far away. So it's a big. It'll come down to dollars and cents if the NRL is that determined to try to make a little bit extra coin. They might force it, but they threatened this in 2023, and it didn't happen. Admittedly, we only have one home final here. If we get two, maybe. And Jacko said, "I hate Eden Park, and we may need the Mount Smart atmosphere." Exactly. Yeah, they will need it. And our track record at Eden Park is terrible.
I've even had a car towed from there. Brad knows. Yeah. We wound up walking.
We lost a car. We lost a car there, and there was a game where we got stuck on the trains and we were real late because the trains weren't working properly. It's just a lot of bad memories of that stadium. And as we said before we jumped on, mate, they've done it before, and I'm sure they'll do it for finals. They'll put up the temporary stand in the north area, and you'll get extra people there. And I get my tickets as soon as I'm allowed, so I don't miss out normally. But if I missed out and I had to watch it at home, sucks to be me. I'm not going to sit there and bitch and complain that they should have played at Eden Park so I could get a seat. The people that can get in first, get in first. It's just the way. I'd rather the Warriors get that atmosphere and have that as their advantage and win than me see them lose that advantage just so I can watch it live in the stadium. Team first, guys. And yeah, Jeff said Eden Park in the hood. They just love. They make a field day off tickets and towing on game days at Eden Park. They love it.
Yeah.
But signing news, mate. We just spent the time worrying about PNG Chiefs. They announced the signing of Joey Manu on a 2-year deal. He was their 007 big signing. As I said to you, mate, a lot of great backs in here, but until they've got a forward pack that can actually help them, you're going to have a lot of superstars that have to do everything off the back foot, which I think will be the downfall. So they need forwards, and it just feels top heavy. Like, I know they're tax-free money, but they still have a cap, and they're using a lot of their cap on backs. And at the moment, you've got no forwards, no depth. So I don't want to disregard the team. They've got some great players, but there's a reason why there's not a lot of teams that have a stacked team from 1 to 13, because you've got to use that money wisely. But your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, we've shown the prototype. You need a gun forward pack, not a team of these flashy backs. But it's a good signing if he comes back to the same form he displayed up until he left.
Yeah.
They'll have a gun. They'll have a gun centre pairing, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think Jacko mentioned it earlier. There is talks that his management are open to having him join another club next year in a stopover, but it's not for the full season. I believe they said it's like half a season basically he'll be available after his other commitments. So there might be teams that might decide to pick him up for a couple of months. I think we said I wouldn't mind him. Warriors kind of always need centers, mate. So
I'm also not keen on Parramatta style contracts.
Yeah.
1 year stopovers.
Yeah, it's not even a whole year. It's just a little bit, mate. It's just
I mean, I wouldn't say no if if we really needed it.
For the right price, yeah. But our centres might be sweet next year. With Grant Anderson coming in, Ali Leatawa for another year, progressing. And yeah, like Jay said, Manu hasn't played league for 3 years, and apparently he's not playing well in French Union. Yeah, he's not blowing the roof off over there, which is different. Like when Sonny went over there, he was actually doing quite well in French rugby when he jumped ship. Joey's kind of feeling like just another numbers guy. So it's going to be all about how quick he bounces back into the form of rugby league.
Well, that's from Tokoro. He doesn't know how to call for a ball in French,
Yeah, that's true. And then next bit of news, mate, it was officially confirmed Corey Horsburgh, Perth Bear for 3 years. So that's a good deal for him. And I think another valuable asset to the pack for the Bears. So, yeah, we'll see how he goes there, getting away from Sticky, helps him find some of his groove again. And then the Broncos also announced they extended Billy Walters for another 2 years. So I think that's a great deal.
Yeah, they need that one.
And, crazy to think that when his dad got sacked, everyone was saying he was going to walk out the door with his dad. And now he's not only sticking around, but extending. So great story. We'll go into the injuries, mate. Shitloads of them. Again, first one, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, broken collarbone. Normally 4 to 8 weeks, but the Warriors have said he'll be back for finals. They reckon he could be back as soon as 2 weeks.
Are they sending him to Fiji?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I think I was talking to you about it too. Like, he's had surgery done on already. Even if they needle him up for the pain and that, the way he scores his tries, that just seems like it's, our
and the way he plays in general. The way he plays in general is very collision heavy.
Yeah. So it'd be great to see him back. The Warriors definitely play a lot better when you've got him out there, but don't rush him back just for the sake of it. I think I was talking to a mate last night saying, stay his back ready for 2 weeks. Don't play him in that first week of finals. If Warriors stay in top 2, mate, get that home final, they win that, they get the next week off. If you give him, that week and then the week off, he gets basically a month to get better before you come back. So any extra bit, it'll be great. But yeah, we'll see what happens. They are inside. They know how it is. So yeah, just come back healthy. That's my main concern. I want to see him back, but I don't want to see him come back, get hurt straight away, and go, "Oh, we just screwed him up for all of next year now." So yeah, we'll see. Zach Hosking from the Raiders, he's done his hamstring, 3 to 4 weeks out, which means his season is over. Tough for him. Then we've got Kula from the Seagulls, syndesmosis injury. He may be in doubt for the World Cup now. So yeah, that's disappointing for him. Jacob Little tore his calf from the Dragons. He's done too for the year. Kurt Mann from the Bulldogs done his groin. Not sure of the length of time. I don't think he's playing this week. Did you see if they announced him?
No, I'm not sure.
Hold on, I'm just checking. Yeah, he's not playing this week, so it might be a week-to-week thing with him. And then Alex Twile from the Tigers and Victor Radley from the Roosters both failed HIAs, 11-day stand-downs. So big losses for both of those sides. Anything you want to add to those, Matt?
Just to praise Dallin's toughness for his one.
Oh, yeah, shit, I didn't even mention it. The footage we saw, him coming off the field because he was hurt, seeing the play was on, getting back on, running, scoring in the corner and helping my multi. But yeah.
Well, I think he knew naturally it was going to hurt.
Oh, yeah, and doing it one-handed essentially as well. But yeah, it's just the toughness. I know wingers get a lot of shit for being the soft people on the field, but you could never accuse him of that. He's just one tough bastard. Naughty boy corner, mate. There's quite a few compared to what we're used to, mate. Jack Cogger from the Panthers, grade 2 careless high tackle, 3-match ban. Disastrous for the Panthers at the moment with how things have been going. They kind of need him, especially since they really don't like Blaise Talangi at the moment. So big loss for the Panthers there for the next 3 weeks. Especially they need to be winning all these games. Not saying he's the difference between winning and losing, but
luckily for them, their run home's not so bad.
Yeah, but yeah, they got Jack Cole is playing in the halves. Jonathan Salmon from the Bulldogs, grade 1 careless high tackle. He's got a 1-match ban, and then Dom Young and Tyson Frizzell from the Knights both got a 1-match ban for grade 2 dangerous contacts. So I don't think there was much in their ones, mate, but I'm very happy for the decision because it helps the Warriors out. And then we got a comment here saying, pretty sure he broke it from the ankle tap, then played the rest of the half. At halftime, the adrenaline would have come down, would have been really sore, comes back and scores unreal. Yeah, I think he did break it in the ankle tap in that first half, and I'm sure they needled him at halftime, which would have helped. But yeah, you could tell, I think there was even one of his hit-ups in the second half where he still tried to run like a maniac, but as he got closer to the contact, he kind of just hit and rolled to try to take some of the impact away. Which, shit, I don't blame him. The fact that he was still out there blows my mind, but yeah. I think that, it's not always the wisest decision to stick it out. We saw with Reece Walsh trying to be a hero and, costing his team. This one, it worked, and it just, the team respects you already, but doing shit like that, the respect levels you'll get from your teammates and the fan base just goes through the roof. So, credit to him. We'll get into NRLW before we move on, mate. Terrible for the NRLW, mate. Kind of brought the mood down after that great night watching the Warriors. But Tigers defeated the Knights 27-26. Raiders defeated the Bulldogs 48-4. Cowboys defeated the Dragons 32-28. Titans handed the Broncos another loss 28-20. Roosters defeated the Warriors 66-8 in the record for the biggest score in NRLW history. And then the Eels defeated the Sharks 42-16. I only saw the Warriors game.
So did I.
Very, very tempted to change the channel.
Unfortunately, I stuck it through to the end. I think we were all messaging each other during it, but it wasn't. It
was terrible.
There was bad things on our part where we had to shuffle the deck in terms of our lineup and injuries, but they looked like they were just playing a whole different level of football, way faster. The ruck speed difference was crazy, and it felt like every scoot from dummy half, they were just making inroads.
Yeah,
you couldn't keep up.
Yeah, it was definitely like a class above, unfortunately, for our girls. But it's also very hard when you're playing Millie Elliott, who was having a game of her life, mate. She was leading running meters at some point. It was very conflicting watching the game. But yeah, disappointing. I think I saw a great comment from a fan saying, the bones are there for the Warriors. You just got to keep at it. This was terrible. But last year, the men's team, got 66 points put on them as well. And, that score doesn't reflect what you can continue to do. Yeah. But yeah, just devastating to watch it at the time. And big game at Mount Smart for them this week. Hopefully they bounce back. But yeah, this week we got Titans versus Raiders, Roosters versus Sharks, Cowboys versus Knights, then Warriors versus Dragons, Eels, Broncos, Tigers, Bulldogs. So big game against the Dragons. I'll be going to that live nice and early to watch, so hopefully they get the job done. And yeah, Jagger said the lateral D from the Wahine is very poor and the Chookies just look far better. Yeah,
agreed.
They just had energy to burn, and a lot of work-ons there, but hopefully they took a lot of lessons out of it. We'll move into round 25, mate. Kicking off with a barn burner. Panthers defeating the Storm 22-14.
Did you want to do that comment there?
CNK. Hughes reckon CNK comes on to wing next week or straight into fullback. Tuapiki was perfect at the boot. I would put CNK on the wing.
Well, either
he
way,
would come straight in. Yeah, but you can't lose either way. But saying Tuapiki looked nice at fullback.
I think.
Yeah, I think he's I think Chance will be more useful on the wing than Tane. Tane did very well when he started in the wing last year, but I think Chance on the wing is better for the Warriors on a whole. Out of the options they have.
Agreed. Tane's my goal kicker though for sure.
Yeah, he's the goal kicker. But hell, spoilers for next week. We might be talking about how Luke Lalili, was a game breaker, amazing winger, and then you might go bugger Chance. Keep who we've got. It seems to be the role at the moment that every week someone comes in. No, anyway, yeah, sorry. But but that's what I would do. Chance the wing for me makes the sense, but we'll see. But yeah, Panthers beating Storm, mate.
Yep, 4-3 for the Panthers to all. He a milestone night for him, and he got 3. Liam Henry was the other for the Storm. Tyron Wishart, Jack Howarth, and Tui Malatu Brown.
Yeah, Penrith got a very important win here. This wasn't the sort of performance where they simply blew Melbourne away. They had to absorb plenty of pressure. They showed some defensive resilience that we've come to expect from them. The big thing, I think, was their ability to deny Melbourne the easy opportunities and then make enough happen at the other end. beating the Storm in Melbourne is a result that carries plenty of weight, even this year when Melbourne haven't been going that well. And heading towards the finals, it's a nice confidence booster for them, where they've been a bit rocky the past few weeks, and just keeps them in that minor premiership hunt. And I guess negatively, they didn't put the foot down after that first half. 22-0 at halftime, and then you end up winning 22-14. Maybe they need to find a bit more in that second half, but I think they were just happy with the win, to be honest. Your thoughts on the Panthers?
I guess on my perspective of it, I guess a little different. I thought they were pretty well dominant until they sort of let themselves let the momentum shift come, like through their own lack of discipline. The three sin bins is worth mentioning. One only had 11 on the field, and I think it was that kind of stuff that allowed the Storm to play a bit of ball. And I think up until that first half was sort of, especially up until the sin bins started coming, they were pretty on top. And the last time they won in Amy Park was something like, I think it was 2018 or something like that. And looking down the lineup was completely different. So this Panthers team's done a lot over the last few years, but this was one that was still sort of a thing for them, and they were blowing it away by halftime. But yeah, I think you're definitely right that they didn't put the foot on the throat, which they should have done.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Storm?
A good fight in the second half. Those sin bins definitely helped their cause, but they were good enough to take advantage of those to turn the momentum, which most good teams would be. Especially at one point, it was 11 Panthers on the field. But 22-0 was too big a start to give up, especially against the Panthers.
Melbourne would be disappointed here because they had their chances, but they didn't turn them into points, and they just didn't really show up in that first half. The Panthers did a good job of frustrating them, especially when you said, I even forgot to mention Simbins. Being down to 11 men and, still frustrating them enough, but, conceding the points as you should expect. But yeah, they just couldn't get the combinations working as well as they could. Millie, they got some key outs at the moment, which didn't help. But yeah, it was just missed opportunities were the difference. I think they had that same mindset that they got once they got the leg up with Simbins to kick the game off. This could have been anyone's because Melbourne are that kind of team. But just got to work on those starts. We really needed them to help us out in this one. Would have made things a bit more clear cut for the Warriors, but it is what it is.
Turns out it didn't matter too much.
Yeah. Tyrone Wishart got fantasy points leader, 86. I didn't pick him because he cost me some leagues in fantasy because some people had him in their team and beat me because of it. I went with Brian To'o, hat trick. Good to see him. I think I gave him shit a few weeks ago about he's kind of been the forgotten son of the Panthers because of Milky on the other side. So good to see him back in try scoring form. But who'd you pick?
Yeah, I went with him as well. He got his 100th try and then got his hat trick as well. So got to go with him.
Yeah, nice. Next game on Friday, Broncos ruining the Josh Papali'i night, defeating the Raiders 34-30. Second year in a row they've broken Raiders fans' hearts in Canberra.
And they ruined a nearly ideal weekend for me. But it was 6 tries to 5 for the Broncos. Billy Walters, Ezra Mam, Grant Anderson had 2, which is good signs for us. Payne Haas and Hayes Perham. Hayes Perham had a night, another former Warrior. And for the Raiders, K.O. Weeks had 2, Ata Mariota, Owen Paddy, and Zach Hosking.
Yeah, this was a game Brisbane simply refused to let go. The Raiders threw plenty at them and kept finding ways back into the contest, but the Broncos kept answering. The attack deserves plenty of credit for continuing to find points when Canberra threatened to take control, and ultimately they showed enough nerve to survive what was a frantic finish. It wasn't perfect, but it was a hell of a game to win. Saves them from being in the conversation of wooden spoon, which was great for me, because that means the Dragons have got this now. Yep. But yeah, it was terrible to see them win this game on Josh Papali'i's last home game. But mate, I've been there at people's final games at home and seen a loss, so I feel the pain. But yeah, your thoughts on the Broncos?
Yeah, the great game itself, first and foremost, crazy back and forth. I thought the Broncos showed more fortitude than I've seen from them in a while. Payne Haas really stood up, as did Hayes Perham. You mentioned him, a few of the comments have mentioned him as well. I thought he was a real solid hand filling in for Walsh. He's probably more solid than Walsh, in terms of a bit more, probably a bit more structured or less error prone. But his goal kicking was really good as well, really high level, which was important in this game, in a close match. Whilst, I always give them a bit of flack, it was a good result for them, breaking a pretty wretched period for them. The only way you let a bit of steam off in the media is by winning. So, they'll be very happy they spoiled the party in Canberra.
Yeah. Then your thoughts on the Raiders?
It'd be very disappointing for them. Obviously, sums up their season a little bit. Favoured to win this one at home. Big Papa's final game at home, and they put out a very mixed bag. At times great with ball in hand, but conceding 34 to team and as poor form as Brisbane have been and sitting second last. It's probably not acceptable, when you're fighting for something bigger. You're fighting to sneak into the finals and to send a club legend out. So they'll be very disappointed. Does that end them officially?
I think so.
I think it does. I hadn't looked into it, but
it was very slim last week. But I think they needed to win both games. But yeah, disappointing. Well, so in my notes, that's what I've got. So we'll go by my math. But in your question last week, I said they'd make the 8. So they've screwed me over as well.
That finish was crazy, though, right? Like, something about these two teams playing the last couple of times was sort of frantic at the finish in finals time last year as well. And it was just a foot and touch away, right? I think of Savage in the corner. Raiders could have stole it. Canberra would be furious with themselves here. In a big occasion, they couldn't get it done for Papali'i. They scored 30 points, which showed you the problem was largely at the other end. Their defence just couldn't shut the Broncos down when they needed them to, and every time they appeared ready to put the game away, Brisbane found another answer. Really disappointing way to finish your final home game of the season and end their slim finals hopes. Just disappointing. I'm sure Simon wasn't feeling too happy about it either. But Payne Haas, top fantasy with 82 points. He's who I went with. I was close to giving it to Hayes, but I thought Payne did a lot of things in the middle that we expect from him, but he hasn't been doing the last few weeks, so I gave him a bit of love. But yeah, Haynes Perham I thought was fantastic too. I went Haas as well. I was exactly the same as you. I was on the fence with it, but Haas copped a little criticism the week before from the Warriors game too, and it's not like him. He's normally Mr. Consistent, and he was back to his bully ball best in this one, and has got a wicked try as well. So
yeah, but yeah, disappointing. So we'll move on. Dolphins defend the Eels 34-16.
6 tries to 3 for the Finns. Herbie Farnworth had a double. Selwyn Cobbo, Jermaine Sarkor had a double. One maybe a little debatable, but he had a double in the newspaper. So, and Maxi Plath had the other for the Eels. Ronald Volkman, Brian Kelly, Kalma Tuilangi.
Yeah, Dolphins continue to look like a team that genuinely enjoys attacking football. They stretched the Eels' defense, created plenty of opportunities, and importantly kept the pressure on once they established a lead. Rather than taking their foot off the accelerator, they kept asking questions and eventually pulled well clear. They're just becoming a very awkward side to prepare for because it isn't just one way that can hurt you. They just, they didn't have as many shots fired against them this week, but defense has always been their issue. So it's really, if they can keep the attacking level up and have more games where you let 2 or 3 tries in, maybe, they will be very dangerous. And Amantis has said Dolphins are the only team that scares me. I think I was talking with that about someone having them in an elimination final does worry me. But I guess the other thing on it is they've never been in the finals before, so they might be just as equally spooked, not being in that situation. But yeah, just they're back in the right form. Your thoughts on the Dolphins?
They had to weather a bit of an early storm. I think the Eels got it down for the first couple, but once they swung the momentum, the response was just what they wanted. 3 quick tries stole the halftime lead away from the Eels, and Dolphins went in 16-10 up. And they went on with the job in the second with their trademark attack, which is scary. I agree with the Amantis. That's their attack it's got so many weapons and so many layers to it that it would present you with a lot of challenges in an elimination final. And I guess, if it were us versus them, we just have to plow through the middle, right? And hope to complete 85% plus kind of thing. Yeah. But moving on to the Eels, they made a great start. Winning for the first 2 tries. They just, I guess, they weren't able to maintain the fire. And then the longer the game went on, slowly but surely their defense went to water, which, we've seen from them at times this year. But yeah, Dolphins attack is a lot to contend with. So especially when you're a bottom 4 side.
Yeah, the Eels were competitive early, but once the Dolphins started to find space, the Eels couldn't really stem the flow. Their defense was repeatedly put under pressure and they struggled to turn in their own possession into the same sort of attacking threat. The worrying part is that they never really found an answer once the game started slipping away. That's not really a negative just to the Eels. That seems to be a negative you can tie to a lot of people that go down to the Dolphins when they're in this mood. But it would have been nice to see a bit more fight because we have been quite positive about the Eels seeming to find a bit of grit since Jason Riles took over, but they're kind of falling away a bit at the moment. And I feel the changes to the team next year with bringing in another Band-Aid is not going to help them develop, but that's a problem for next year that we'll probably complain about. Herbie Farnworth, top scored fantasy, 99 points, mate. He got almost triple digits. He's who I went with. Got a double. Was just a constant threat in attack, as he always is. And, seems to be getting a bit more confidence back. There was a couple of weeks where he just looked really frustrated. Gave him a shout out. But who'd you go with?
Went to Sarkor, couple tries, one debatable, as I said. Goal kicking always a standout. That source of points is going to be tough to replace next year.
It is. It's going to be such a strong sense of strength to the Storm's bow next year, having a goal kicker like that can still score tries as well.
What do you think of that try, that debatable one? I mean, there's a couple of them like that this weekend.
There were a couple. I will feel like a hypocrite if I say it wasn't a try because of Dallon's try. So I'm going to say it was a try. I did like Ryle's comments. What did he say? Like the bunkers got more like more technology than the people that went to the moon, but they still can't make the right decision. I
thought knock on, but I also thought Dallin knocked on.
I think
it was a heck of an effort, but I thought there was separation. I'm just old school, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like there was separation in at least 3 tries that were given this weekend. But yeah, they were given. It didn't cost us the game, so I feel like it's fine. And it got me my multi. So, yeah, very biased. We'll move on to the first game on Saturday, mate. Fosball's back, baby. Sea Eagles defeat the Knights 44-24.
Yeah, didn't see this coming. 8 tries to 4. Clayton Faulalo, Caleb Navale, Josh Folletti had 3. Ruben Garrick, Jason Saab, Lehigh Hapawari. For the Knights, Fletcher Hunt, Greg Marju, Dom Young. Fletcher Hunt got his second later in the game.
Yeah, Manly was simply just too powerful for Newcastle here once they got rolling. Their attack looked dangerous all over the park, and they kept finding ways to turn good field position into points. What stood out was how quickly they punished Newcastle whenever the Knights made a mistake. It was an attacking performance with plenty of confidence behind it. I already said at the beginning, is Fosball back? They look a lot more dangerous when they got Tommy Turbo out there too. But yeah, very impressed with this. Was not the result I expected. But your thoughts on Manly?
A try after 2 minutes was an unreal start. They then went on to let through the next 3 and down 18-6. I kind of thought, oh, here we go. This is sort of going to script. The Dom Young sin bin in the 34th minute, that kind of proved to be fruitful for Manly, who then exploded back into the lead. Went in with the 24-18 halftime lead, and yeah, they didn't let up. In the second period, they went on to put the foot down and seal an unexpected win. They look decent again. Tommy Turbo back into the fold. These are our next 2 opponents, so this was a little preview of our upcoming games, I guess.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Knights?
It was just a strange game for the Knights. They looked dangerous in patches, but their defense really struggled in this one for whatever reason. They are hit with some pretty key injuries, which I guess this time of year you want to be playing people at their best, but might help us this weekend. Phoenix Crosslands and Tyson Frizzell's, etc. I think we were talking about it in our chat. But yeah, they'll be keen to right the ship heading into the finals. But their next assignment's a tough one for sure, having to come here to NZ and take on us when we're in form.
Yeah, Newcastle had some good moments in this match, but they just couldn't keep Manly contained for long enough. The defensive effort was repeatedly tested, and they struggled to slow the Sea Eagles down once the game opened up. Scoring 24 points showed they weren't completely out of the contest, and take that sin bin away, it could be a completely different story. But yeah, conceding 44 points, it just tells you where the real problem was. Defensively, they just weren't sound. They really needed this win before coming to Auckland, I think. So this one will be one they regret. How, they got a lot of outs this week. We'll talk about it later. I think I said to you, Ruin Hammer, the more outs a team has, the more worried I get.
Yeah.
Because that is sometimes a game they'll let slip. I think the mentality the Warriors have right now doesn't allow for things like that. But, I think it was the Matty John show at the end of the round. He had, I think, Bradman Best and it might have been Fletcher Hunt there, and they were trying to put on brave faces about coming to Auckland this week, but they didn't look that confident that early on. But yeah, you never write them off. They got some game breakers there. They just got to put it all together and defend a bit more sound. And Ruse here and said Warriors PTSD. It's what it is. Always waiting for them to fall apart. Fletcher Hunt top scored with 69 points. Nice. I went with Josh Felitti. Couldn't even hit this guy with my car before this game, mate. Had no idea who the hell he was. But he looked good out there.
Yeah. Hat-trick rule. 3 in a row, too. 3 consecutive, 34, 38. 2 just before halftime and 1 shortly after.
Yeah, so great effort from him. We'll move on to the game we're all here for, mate. Warriors defeating the Rabbits 45-26.
Yeah. 7 tries to 5 for the Wars. The Fish, Leka Halasima, Mitch Barnett, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Dallin, Jakey Laban, and Lofi Camperera. For the Bunnies, Jack White and Alex Johnston had 2, like he normally does, Tallis Duncan and Cody Walker. Speaking of Warriors PTSD, there were some moments here.
Yeah. This was a huge attacking statement from the Warriors, but the thing I liked most was the response whenever South Sydney threatened to make a game of it. The Warriors didn't panic or retreat into their shell. They kept backing themselves and eventually broke the Rabbits. Resistance 45 points against a side capable of scoring plenty themselves shows how confident the attack is becoming after the disappointment of recent weeks with the injuries. I think it was a good response from the Waz, especially, Dallin went down. We kind of had a little bit of a wobble when he went off and they had to adjust things. I was like, oh no, mate, here we go. But they held firm. And they just score, you name it, they know how to score. They scored off short balls, off kicks, off set phases, broken play. You name it, they can find points now. And like Rob said, the Warriors can weather the storms and handle the momentum switches. That was the key thing. It was the Rabbits switched momentum and switched momentum hard. They were able to wrestle it back, which in some of those defeats we saw this year, that wasn't what happened. So they've learnt that from those defeats. And yeah, just very, very, very happy. And sitting there with the calculator through the whole bloody thing, mate, going, how do we get to number 1? And then good old Lukey did it for us. But your thoughts on the Warriors?
I mean, there's good portions of this game where it was just a continuation of what we've put out the past couple of weeks, and the punch with the forwards. For me, it's all coming from Egan. It's a combination of Egan and our middles. They feed off each other. Egan loves a momentum game. Our middles start winning contacts, and it's just snowballs from there, I feel like. But Egan's craftiness, putting Fisher Harris over with the no looker, and then the grubber to Mitch Barnett just sums up how the whole middle is operating right now. The defense started to get a bit of a worry, but I feel like that didn't really become a big worry until Dallin's injury came about, and then we had to reshuffle. So I think that definitely played a part. It doesn't excuse it. It's still 26 points. So I guess in the review and moving into finals, we're looking for how we adapt. I think we actually adapted okay. Webby actually made the switch on the fly and changed sides that Leka was on, and I think he helped. I think Shawnee was breaking it down on League Lounge, and yeah, I think Leka showed a lot of really great adaptability there, to be able to, on the fly, be moved and then sort of help stem the tide, I guess. So overall, I'm really positive. Clearly, the field goal was just the best icing on the cake to put it over the edge, push us into first place.
Yeah. And your thoughts on the Rabbits?
Yeah, I thought they put up a really good fight. Maybe they were actually, don't quote me on this, I'm pretty sure they were leading the line break count for a lot of the game. They were making a lot of line breaks.
How could you forget that? That's all the commentators were bloody talking about.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you're right. But they were good for it. Their attack did look good. We were icing our chances, whereas they were taking some chances. But they really started taking them when they got the advantage of us having some injuries and reshuffling, and it weakened a side that they were already very good at attacking down their left-hand side. It's their favorite side, and they don't need any kind of leg ups for that to be a source of points for them. And once they knew they had ascendancy there, I was worried for sure. Then they closed that gap up to one try, and I guess a negative for the Rabbitohs, they made too many mistakes to get the result over a team that's now first place but playing so well as well. I guess going back to the Wars, it's a tick in the column for us that we were able to weather what the Rabbitohs were throwing at us in that period, which was a lot, and then sort of turn the screws and turn it back in our favour.
Yeah, I thought South Sydney actually were very competitive for long stretches in this match, but they couldn't stop the Warriors whenever they found attacking momentum. Scoring 26 points shows there was plenty of threat with the ball, but conceding the 45 is the biggest story. The defense just couldn't match the Warriors' attacking punch, particularly once the game opened up. And there was some you talk about, we'll talk about in spoilers for my player that stood out, combining with your player that stood out, spoilers on both ends. The Demi short ball to Eddie into open space. The Rabbits had no idea what to do with some of those plays the Warriors were doing. It was a lot of credit goes to them for what they could do on attack, but yeah, they just defensively they went out, and it's the problem we've had with them for years, mate. They had the case of the dropsies at time. If they played that low era footy that we see like Warriors and that do, they'd be such a tough team to stop because they're so potent on attack. They just made too many errors. There was a lot of let-offs they gave the Warriors, which, especially with the way the Warriors are at the moment, with their high completion rate footy, you can't give them extra opportunities because they're not going to give you the same ones back, which is kind of what we saw here. Rue said our kick chase was a huge factor, put them under a lot of pressure and converted into points. Yeah, Paul Campbell-Graham looked terrified trying to catch the ball when he's got Lecker jumping next to him. And
what a weapon that is, I say.
Yeah, and we've seen it, not as much this week, but in weeks past, Jacob Laban's finding a bit of luck going up for the balls and kicks as well. So to have threats on both sides of the field for kicks is just a great addition for the Warriors. Eddie Eremia Toriava, top fantasy with 73 points. He's who I went with. That try I just talked about, short ball from Demi to him. Great try, great offload from Eddie. But it takes me back. I can't remember the round. Brew will probably mention it because he's Rain Man when it comes to former games. Earlier in the year with Jacob, when Jacob got the break and had no one with him and he had to die with the ball, and that was a real opportunity we could have scored. As soon as Eddie got into open space, he didn't run as fast as he could, and you see he was looking everywhere for support. Poor Chanel running on a treadmill trying to catch up. But he had the support there. He didn't. Not only was he Chanel, AKP was outside him, which was, rewind to that other moment where Jacob was in no man's land all by himself. He didn't have the runners with him. That was a good thing I saw going. Would have been awesome to see Eddie go. He didn't die with the ball. He still managed to do it, but he had support.
Mate, it was reminding me of Lauatiti versus Broncos 2003.
Yeah.
I think it was 2003. Unreal. And the skill with the offload.
Oh, that offload was beautiful, mate. But yeah, I had to go with him. I'm not going to talk about it because your question's about it. There's some tough decisions coming up for Webby in a couple of weeks. But yeah, thought Eddie, this was easily his best game so far, and he's been impressing me every time he gets an opportunity. So, and he had to go out and play in the centres, and there was a bit of it was a bit iffy at the start when he moved out there. But, he found his feet again, and, yeah, just solid. These young kids the Warriors have got, mate, are just so impressive.
it's not the first time he's found himself out covering in the centres too.
And he played a lot of it in New South Wales Cup as well.
I think it was the Cowboys game, and I could be wrong, but there was a game and he went centre and actually got a try assist out of it. And this game here, he got 2 try assists as well. I would have been happy to go with him because he was unbelievable, but I went Demi because I thought Demi was unbelievable as well. And he just poses multiple threats, the aggression and ball running, but then the silkiness as well. He kind of, I don't actually think he was joking, but he said he's had it in the toolbox for a while when he was interviewed after. But I don't doubt him. He's a skillful man, and he was awesome. He made a big impact.
There you go. Bruce answered your question. He played centre against the Dolphins. Most props have got a nice passing game on them that they're never allowed to use. Webby gives them the freedom. I think he said basically he hasn't ever told a player don't do it. If you see something on, try it. That short ball fooled everyone, mate. Fooled the cameraman, fooled me at home. We know he can do the short ball. We've seen him do it, but I was expecting just your traditional head up, trying to get the Warriors, closer in territory. Beautiful pass.
Champagne rugby league, mate.
Yeah. Very impressed, very happy. And credit again, we didn't talk about it too much. Lukey with the field goal. I did say it to the missus when it happened, saying, finally get a player that can do a field goal, and he's going to the Titans. We'll be back to hoping we don't get golden point footy when he's gone. We'll go to the final game on Saturday, mate. Bulldogs defeating the Dragons 44-14, securing that wooden spoon for the Dragons.
Beautiful. 7 tries to 3 for the Dogs. Bronson Sherry, Matty Burden had 2. Jacob Preston, Max King, Lockie Galvin, Connor Tracy for the Dragons. Val Holmes, and 2 to Matt Feangai.
Doggies made a pretty convincing case here that they're more than just a defensive grinding team. They put the Dragons away with authority here. 24 points in the first half, another 20 in the second. I thought their attack was every bit as impressive as their defensive effort. Once they got on top, they didn't allow the Dragons any opportunity to turn the game into a contest. There were a couple of tries. I think they would be disappointed with those 2 tries in the final 20. But at that point, the game was already over. And this just showed the Bulldogs playing with confidence and purpose. Very impressed by them here. And I don't know if they're going to have what it takes to make it into the top 8. They've got some tough games coming up, but a win like this helps them, mate. That too. Very impressive. Your thoughts on the Doggies?
They blew the game open early, and at 24-0 at halftime, pretty much had the game sewn up by then. They put on a second half. They did let in 3, like you said. But until that point had been defending nicely. And those 3 tries, I feel like came with the game already sewn up. The Dogs themselves put on a few more nice tries in the second half to ram home the advantage, and it does keep their hopes alive, or at least it did until they all caught a virus. It does keep them alive, though. They're still in the hunt.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Dragons?
I think probably their worst game in a few weeks, I feel like. 14 errors, 70% completion. I think they were their own worst enemy a lot of the times in this game, giving the Dogs too many chances. They did, as we just said, they did dot down 3 times for some pride in the second half, but bad night overall. If you're going to lock up the spoon, do it in style, I guess.
Yeah, the world's back in the normal place, mate. The Dragons are shit again. They were never really able to settle. Canterbury put them under pressure early, and instead of finding a way to slow the game down, they were just giving the Bulldogs opportunities to attack. Once they fell behind, the defense started to unravel and they simply couldn't put themselves back in the contest. Forgot to mention the sin bins, mate. Those 2 tries they got in the final 20 were right after Matt Burton got sent off, which kind of helped. But I guess credit and that side of things, when you're up against 12 men, at least they showed that, when they got the advantage, they could make an example of it and get the points. Still very worried about how good this team's going to be in 2027, but finally we get the spoon for them, mate. I've been praying for it since we started this bloody show 7 years ago.
Just one more drought to break.
Yeah. Max King got the top fantasy points with 72. I actually went with Connor Tracy. I know you said you want the doggies to get rid of him and bring in AJ, but I thought he was
just throwing it up there.
You put it there. He is someone. It kind of seems like a weak link there, like not a big name, but I think he's been delivering. I think he led line breaks for the doggies here, scored a nice try. Just seems to be the no-nonsense guy instead of a high-profile guy and just gets the job done. So I want to give him some credit here. Who'd you go with?
You'll always get effort out of him for sure. I agree. I went Matty Burton. Couple of tries, looking dangerous out there, out wider.
Nice. Then we go to the first game on Sunday, mate. Sharks defeating the Titans 30-22.
Yep, 6 tries to 4 for the Sharkies. Ronaldo Mulitalo had 2. Sione Katoa had 2. 1 wicked put down. Cam McInnes and AFB. And with the Baldy. For the Titans, Jojo Fafita, AJ Brimson, Philip Sami, and Bodie Sharpley.
Yeah, Sharks weren't at their absolutely best here, but they were desperate to get back on track after a couple of dismal weeks, and they did enough to get the job done here. The Titans kept asking questions and made this more uncomfortable than the Sharks would have wanted, but Cronulla were able to produce enough attacking quality to stay ahead. It was more about getting the 2 points than putting together a perfect performance. With how they've been going, I think they just wanted to get a win by any means and get like the monkey off the back of the last few weeks. But the odds of being like one of those dangerous teams in finals have taken a massive hit the past 3 weeks. But yeah, they got a win. It's nothing they're going to write home about. But yeah, keeping themselves in the hunt for that top 4 spot potentially. Your thoughts on the Sharks?
There was a lot of adversity for them in their opening half. That they had to weather a lot from the Titans, but they did manage to turn it around and power home to a much needed result in their race for the top 4. I agree with you. It's not. You wouldn't call it a statement win by any stretch. It's not going to put any fear into any of the top 4 teams, but it doesn't matter. Once you get there, it doesn't matter how you got there. But yeah, I agree with you. They'll take the 2 however they get them.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Titans?
A good opening half from the Titans. I was sort of carrying them home, hoping for any upset against any of our close rivals. Those kind of results are coming in handy, and this one would have been nice. But yeah, they did start sharp. The Titans, they were looking good. Their defense seemed to wilt more and more as the game went on. They still had some good contributors. I think Big Tino was the fantasy leader. They had some good efforts individually, but yeah, no result, which is sort of very Titans.
Yeah, the Titans deserve some credit, I think, for staying in the fight in this one. They scored enough points to show to make Sharks work for the win, but they just couldn't quite close the gap when they had opportunities. They fumbled the lead and then just couldn't really get back. Their biggest issue is probably the inability to string together good sets in succession to really put the Sharks under sustained pressure, and it's just the rinse and repeat with the Titans. Their defense just isn't where it should be to make them a legitimate threat week to week. Yeah. Big Tino, top fantasy with 86 points. I actually went with Sione Katoa. Nice double, as you said. One of the he's up there now for try of the year contenders with his little flip that he did to get in. Looked very dangerous out on that edge.
Agreed. I went with him as well. If nothing else for that finish, but he's a freaky man. He's got a bit of that in him too. I think he's slept on when it comes to the corner finishing. Like Dell gets a lot of praise, but I've seen Sione Katoa do some pretty freaky ones, and this one was really cool. But yeah, he's strong overall.
Yeah, and then we get into the final game of the round, mate. Probably the most anticipated game after our one for Warriors fans this week. Tigers defeating the Roosters 25-24.
Yeah, it was 5-4. For the Tigers, Jarrell Skelton had 2. Tony Suka, Solomoni Sakuru, and Api Coruscant. Api's boot was a little bit off. Otherwise, I think it might have been a bit less scary than that. He was 2 from 5. For the Roosters, Billy Smith had 2 tries. Rob Toyer and Sam Walker, and Sam Walker had a penalty goal. Jock Madden, I didn't mention for the Tigers. He was the hero for 2 clubs.
Yeah. If Api was a bit better with his goal kicking, mate, it would have never needed to get to that. But this was the sort of win that can completely change the mood around the team. The Tigers had lost 8 straight, came up against the competition leaders, even though technically at the time they were just behind it, and somehow just found a way to I don't even like saying steal it, because I think they played really well here. They didn't need to dominate the Roosters. They just needed to stay close enough to give themselves a chance. And when the decisive moments arrived, they took them. Massive results, and one they'll remember for a long time. I know we'll all talk about the field goal, but there was some of the sweet plays from Api during the game, and just some of the draw and passing you were seeing from the backs. They just made it. They were outplaying the Roosters here, which was a great testament to how well, especially with all the shit they've been going through this year, mate. Just very, very proud of them here. I've always had a soft spot for them, and yeah, seeing them play like this was just awesome. Your thoughts on the Tigers?
Yeah, it's a great result for them. A great result for them and for us. Obviously, the upset win catapulting us top of the table. The Tigers were finding inroads through the Roosters' defense, which was watertight the week before. I think Api was playing a big role in that, as you said. You know, his craftiness wasn't always even out of dummy. I think one of their tries, a long range effort, it was from a short side raid, and I think Jerome jumped into dummy and up his first receiver, and it's just a nice sort of couple of passes. But he was on. His attack was on, and he, if it wasn't for his goal kicking, like if his goal kicking was on, it would have been more comfy. But his general play was great. It did get scary at the end and threatened to be a heartbreaker. But Jock Madden was able to rescue the mission.
Yeah, and your thoughts on the Roosters?
Yeah, I thought it was a surprising performance from the Roosters. Felt like a few levels down from their lofty heights of recent weeks. I just mentioned their game against the Panthers. You know, they were defensively so strong. But yeah, thankfully so for us Waz fans. They did bounce back. It's I guess you got to say that they weren't perfect in this game. In fact, I thought they were pretty poor for a lot of it. But when they flicked the switch late, they did look dangerous and looked like they could pour points on. But I also hope that this isn't the wake up call they need as well. You know, right on the doorstep of finals, it could be also a wake up call for them. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Whether or not it's it's a wake-up call, whether this is just inconsistencies that hopefully are in their game.
Yeah, it has to hurt for the Roosters here. They were putting together a strong run into finals, and they walked in against the Tigers side desperate for a win and just couldn't put them away. The biggest issue was they allowed West to hang around long enough to grow belief. I think you could see it as the game was going. The Tigers were believing they were actually like, we can do this. And the Roosters had no answers. No, they started to come back at the end, got us all worried, and the pressure did shift, but the Tigers just hung in there. I don't know if it was a game plan or whatever, but they got a very dangerous guy out there in Marky Mark, and for a large portion of the game, they refused to go his way. They kept going to the other side. I think if they went to the right where Mark is, they'd blow this game apart, which is what they started to do towards the end. They started going his way and things started happening. So I don't know if that was a game plan that went wrong or just it was overcalled on the field. Whatever it was, I think, that's something they're going to remember, unfortunately. It's just a very timely reminder that nobody gets a free pass this time of the year. Hopefully they don't use this as the fuel to go on a massive run in finals, though. But Sam Walker, despite being on the losing side, top fantasy was 73 points. But I went with Api Coruscant, like you said. Instrumental in a lot of plays, nailed a beautiful 40-20. Just was a great game from him. Wanted to give him massive raps in this one.
Went with him as well. Yeah, the in full control, 40-20, got a try. Just the goal kicking, but other than that, he was unreal.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to the ladder chat, mate. So we've got the ladder here. I think I had top last week, so you get the week where we get to have Warriors at the top, mate. So you give us the top 8.
How good is that? Look, that's the one change you need to see this week, everybody. The Warriors jump up to first place, and before I roll on, that is the first time we've had the best points differential, right? At this time, it has to be.
I think so. Maybe in the prime years in 2002 and that, but it's definitely the best points differential we've had.
Awesome. Panthers second, Roosters dropped to third. Dolphins in fourth, Sharks in fifth. They're going to play each other this weekend, so that's got massive ramifications. Knights sixth, Rabbits seventh, Cowboys eighth.
Yeah, and there was only 2 teams that switched in the bottom 9. Bulldogs ninth, just 2 points out of the top 8. Seagulls 10th, Storm 11th, Raiders 12th, Eels 13th, Tigers 14th. Broncos after that win went up to 15th. Titans went down to 16th. Dragons dead last. And mate, I think come the end of 2026, I can retire, I think, from watching rugby league. If the Warriors win the GF, Dragons get the spoon, and then the Kiwis win the World Cup, mate, what do I need to do anymore? I'm done. Be the trifecta of joy. But yeah, very happy with where we are at the ladder. I think the top 4 is sewn up. It's just where it sits. I think the Dolphins have done enough to keep that spot off the Sharks. The Knights may have had a shot if they weren't playing the Warriors. Everyone kind of needs to win their 2 games to keep themselves in a good spot. Some tough games coming up for the Roosters.
The Roosters
and the Panthers
this week. I said Shark. Yeah. It's the Roosters playing the Dolphins, not Dolphins playing Shark. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Roosters, Dolphins. I think it's Panthers, Doggies, with the Doggies desperate to try to get into the 8. So teams 2 and 3, 2, 3, and 4 have some real tough games. Warriors have a tough game too. Knights, a lot of outs, but they will be desperate to get a win. So I think everyone in the top 4 have got a real tough game this week. But Warriors get their win, and if the Panthers or Roosters accidentally let one slip this week, that basically secures a top 2 finish for the Warriors if they get their win. Which that's the goal here. that's what the Warriors need. So, yeah, very happy there. And, yeah, I think at the moment it's the Bulldogs are the only one outside the 8 that may have a chance. If not, that's kind of stitched up everybody. Bulldogs lose to the Panthers. It's just about what order everyone else is in, I think, in the 8.
Yeah.
Which there's some big bopping teams that aren't going to make finals this year, which is crazy.
For sure.
But we'll move on to the tipping comp, mate. A lot of people using their jokers last round. With us coming up to the end of it. Not a lot of people got big scores, though. A couple of upsets. I think everyone kind of sat around the 5 out of 8. I think Roosters losing, Broncos winning, and I don't know the other team that everyone got wrong. I know I got 3 wrong, so I can't remember who the other one was. Completely brain fart in here, but Evelyn at the top used the last of her jokers. You were second. You still got a joker up your sleeve, I think, don't you?
I can't recall if I do or if I used one early.
Yeah. Then the Yerk is third. MB Sports Fan fourth. I am fifth. Simon is sixth with 2 jokers up his sleeve, mate. So I expect that to climb up. That's a huge advantage this late in the season. Boy from SMB 7. Roscoe is 8. Hammer is down to 9. Bjorn's up to 10, mate. Bjorn's taking it to heart, the crap we've been giving him for being a wooden spooner. Your boy Max going all the way down to 11th. ACT Hellcat at 12. Miss Hammer 13. Princess Cahill 14. And the Punisher 15. So, yeah, still tight there, mate. I'm still hoping to play finals. We'll see how it goes. 2 rounds to go. I think it stops at the regular season, the comp. I can't remember. We'll find out. Go to fantasy, mate. Got eliminated I had 3 finals matches. Got eliminated in 2, but I survived in the one that you set up. You stitched me up, mate. I had to play the minor premiers to make it into the grand final. And I did it
on 900.
Yeah. Had some shocking scores which didn't help me out. And Simon said, I think it goes into the playoffs, but you can't use jokers. Yeah, I think jokers finish in regular season, but it might let us keep going. We'll find out. But yeah, didn't make it in the others. I think the one that I paid money to get into, I think I lost by like 40 points.
So and
that was Kalen Ponga, getting his 20 didn't help me out. Ola Kawatu only getting 39, and they had Wishart who got the 80. So yeah, let me down. A few of my regulars didn't help me out, but in your one, I faced the minor premiers and I won close. Your boy was in the other final, but didn't make it. It could have been me and your son in the final.
He made it. He wanted me to make the point that he actually scored higher than you, but he must have just had the harder matchup. He got 919 apparently.
Oh yeah, it's who you play on the day, mate. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. That's what I told him too.
So it's second versus third in the grand final. I was third at the end of the regular season. I can't remember his name. The other guy was second. So yeah, we knocked the big guy out, and it's up to us. So we'll have, I guess, the final fantasy team next week in the grand final and see if I take it out or not. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll go into questions now, mate. We'll go with my one first. I think my one's going to be quicker than yours. So we're in the midst of a dream run for the Warriors. To date this season, who is your Warriors MVP?
She's a tough one. There's definitely been some candidates. Jacko Ford was looking like he would be right up there prior to being injured. I think at the moment, Wade Egan is right up there. I think Fisher Harris for his leadership as well. Those 2 spring to mind, but there's a lot. You could name any number of forwards. Aaron Clark. There's been so many. The whole team's just been
playing at such a high level as a system, but I think those two have been pretty pivotal for me to our success. Egan, Fisher, Harris.
Nice. I was thinking Egan. I was thinking Egan and then giving a little nod to Chanel for being the glue in the halves. But yeah, I think Egan, I know we've got the next man up mentality. I think if they lost Egan for a long stretch, I think the Warriors look superior, severely depleted just from him. He adds so much. Sam Healy's great. I don't think you go Wade's gone, the Warriors lose type scenario, but it definitely takes some sting out of their attack.
Yes, and that's what I didn't want to put out into the universe earlier. So thanks for doing it, Brad.
Yeah, you're welcome. You should tell me what you don't want to put out into the universe so I don't do it. But your question to me, mate.
The selection headaches I see coming into finals, halfback. We get some cattle back. Tamati Martin and Metcalf is supposedly good to go for finals. That's one, halfback. And then the other one, who makes way for Jacko Ford? Those are some pretty tough calls heading into finals. What way does Brad go?
First one, it's TMM with Metcalf on the bench. Metcalf, I think, is adding such a great attacking threat, an extra dimension. But I wouldn't bet my house on him making it through 80 at the moment. And ideally, if you've got Metcalf starting, he gets hurt, and you bring Tamati on, everything's okay. But I feel like that's just wasting an interchange you could use elsewhere potentially. So at the moment, I would back TMM. He's had some injuries this year too, but Metcalf, you just can't guarantee it. I'll support whoever Webby picks though. And then for the other one, who makes way for Jacko Ford? I think it's going to be Tanner.
Wow.
So I was just thinking, I feel like it's insulting to any player that you pick. But Eddie, I think Eddie's been showing a lot, can play in the second row as well. Dem's got the extra additions to his game, like the short ball and that. Tanner at the moment is doing bloody well, but he's a run hard, tackle hard. So he replicates what Jackson's going to be doing out there the most. So I think Demi, a couple of weeks ago when we asked this, I said Demi doesn't make it because Demi was just coming back from injury. But I think it's his other tangibles that give him the edge there. It's a tough call, whoever misses out. But I feel like Jacko's going to be doing like the hard yards, running it up the middle and tackling his ass off, which is what Tanner's kind of doing. So it feels the more like for like for me. But it's this is why you give Webby all this money, mate, because he has to make this call.
It's an extremely tough call.
Yeah.
I agree too. I agree with Eddie seeming like he's gone to another level, almost like he's realizing himself how good he can be. He's had a couple of coming of age performances, and he's got the versatility of being able to play middle or edge, like you said, even center. I don't know how much we were joking, but we were talking about it in our chat group anyway about why could you just put EIT at center whilst Dallon's out, and you've got Lecker and EIT, and then you can just throw all these young forwards out there. Seems like it wouldn't be the worst idea, but yeah, you want specialists. But that's
you want specialists. But that would also answer the Jacko Ford question. If you moved him into centres, you don't need to drop a forward to bring forward in.
I mean, yeah, and it's just doubling down on all your young talent. But that's not – Webby knows the right way to go, and he's just got a tough call to make on one of them. So I guess on your logic, I kind of agree with your logic that Tanner is the one that I guess, yeah. But it's just it's such a tough phone call to make. It's such a tough. It'll be such a tough meeting to have. Because he definitely does not deserve to be cast aside the way he's been going. He's
been crushing it all year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And our bench, everyone's raving on about it's the best bench in the comp now, alongside the best forward pack in the comp, and he's played a big role in that. So I think you bring Jacko forward back, but I think you have to.
I could sit here and I could think of an argument to defend keeping every player on the bench, and also an argument for not bringing forward back. But then I can also have an argument for why you bring him back and why you drop everyone. There's no right or wrong answer, I feel. I think it's going to be a tough call. Any way you go, it's going to be tough. On
the halfback one, I'm not fussed. Yeah, Metcalf offers a lot of upside, and if it's only for a 3-game stint, maybe that's a gamble you take.
Mate, he couldn't even make it through a 2-game stint. He made 1.5 games.
Doesn't have to goal kick.
Yeah.
Keep him far away from that. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
If it's the other way around, I don't think it matters the way we play.
Yeah. We'll wait and see. It's a tough one again. But yeah, we'll go into the next round, mate. Obviously, we'll start with talking about the Warriors game, mate. Warriors versus Knights, Go Media Stadium on Sunday at 4. You want to give us the Warriors team?
Yep, fullback Tane Tuapiki. On one wing, Luke Laulili is named to make his debut. Warriors debut, that is. Other wing, Lofi Kampura. Centers, Ali Leotawa is named to return. Leka Halasima keeps his spot. Halves, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Tamaiti Martin is named to return, which is great. Forward pack, front row, James Fisher-Harris, Mitch Barnett, co-captains. That's your starting props. Wade Egan Hooker. Second row, Kurt Capewell, Jacob Laban. Lock, Aaron Clark. Interchange, Sam Healy, Tanner Stell-Smith, Demi, EIT, Adam Pompey, Morgan Gannon, and extended is Micaiah Tafua, Luke Hansen, Jet Cleary.
Yeah, thoughts on the team, Matt?
Very strong. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the way I would have gone given Dallin being out, picking the specialist winger as your replacement. Chucking Luke Laulili a bit out there rather than experimenting with Adam Pompey on the wing.
Yeah. It's exactly who I picked it in my preview of the game. I said I'd bring Luke in just due to his experience. It's not as big, but he's a winger. Bringing a winger in for a winger makes the most sense to me. I'm looking at his stats when he played against the Warriors in round 3. He had a line break, ran for 166 meters. I think he's averaging like 180 meters at the moment in New South Wales Cup. So I feel like he will do the most like for like. And like we said, Chance is back the week after. It's basically a 1-week stopgap. And yes. I feel more confident having him there for a week than having Pompey out there, especially when you got Fletcher Hunt and Greg Marju as the wingers the other side. I'd be a bit worried. But yeah, I'm happy enough for that. I think the only change, you'll see Morgan Gannon come off and Hansen probably go on. So you've got you've got Pompey for your outside back cover, and then you've got Hansen for your spine cover. Or your halves cover, it makes more sense with that. That's, I think, the only switch we'll see. But I'm happy enough with that. We'll go through the Knights team before we talk about who we think's going to win. Kalen Ponga at fullback, Fletcher Hunt, Greg Marju on the wings, Dane Gagai, Bradman Best in the centres, Fletcher Sharp, Sanders Smith in the halves, Jacob Safidi, Harrison Graham, and Trey Mooney in the front row, Jermaine McEwen, and Francis Manulelawa.
Manulelawa.
Thank you. You always say his name because you love the guy. In the second row, Matt Kroger, 13. Interchange, we've got Thomas Kant, Cody Hopgood, Lachlan Crouch, Pasami Solo, Toby Winter, and Diesel Hagen on the bench. A lot of outs in this team, but there's still some dangerous players in there, like Kalen Ponga on his day, Fletcher Hunt, Brad Mabeste, and Gagai, Greg Marju. Basically, the whole back line is still scary if you give them too much room to move. But yeah, and Trey Mooney's been great for them this year. Jacob Saifidi's always talented. Francis has been killing it. I'm suppose he'll probably grow another leg playing in New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
So not as dangerous as they could be, but still dangerous. But I am still picking the Warriors to win this one. I think back at home, I think that the crowd factor alone, I think, is going to really make this one for Newcastle.
Mm-hmm. Back in the boys as well. Newcastle definitely still have some weapons. I'm glad we don't have to deal with Dom Young as well. That aerial battle, I guess he would have been marking up against Loffy, might have been interesting. Yeah. Loffy would have had him for pace, but young Luke Lauli, he's gonna have a mission on his hand with Marju. So, but at home, the way we're playing, I think our middle should get the better of them, all going well, and set up the win. Diesel Hagen, what a rugby league name!
Oh man, yeah, beautiful name. But yeah, we'll move into the rest of the round, kicking off round 26 on Thursday night with the Broncos versus Storm, mate. Who are you going with here? I'm going with the Storm.
I'm going to go the other way. Broncos, it's toss of a coin, I think. You don't know which team, either team you're going to get, really.
Yeah. Being kicked Friday, we've got the Seagulls and the Dragons kicking it off. I'm going with the Seagulls.
Yep. Manly.
Next game of Friday, Panthers Doggies. Big game here. I'm going with the Panthers.
Panthers to finish the Dogs. Yep.
Then first game on Saturday, we had Titans Rabbits. I'm going with the Rabbits.
Yeah, Rabbits. I think they'll be up for it surely.
Yeah, the occasion for dry, of course. Second game on Saturday, the other big clash, Roosters Dolphins. I'm going with the Roosters, but it was a flip of the coin for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go the other way. Again, flip of the coin.
Then final, so you're going Dolphins. That will help us out. Final game on Saturday, Cowboys Tigers. I've gone with Cowboys.
Also gone with Cowboys. They have to be up for that game, surely.
Yeah. And then first game on Sunday, Warriors Knights. We've both gone Warriors. Final game of the round, Sharks versus Eels. I've gone with Sharks.
Sharks, easy choice.
All right, so that's our picks for round 26. See who gets our ones right, mate.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to let people know before we go? It's probably one of our longer ones for the year.
Sorry, guys. No, we did a lot of waffling this week.
Yeah, we need to talk to Paul about coming back and keeping us in line, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight on the Stand Up with Brad and Richie. For your weekly update on things rugby league, tune into our show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. here on Facebook or YouTube, or at your convenience on iHeartRadio and Spotify. Just remember to search for New Zealand Sport Radio. Thanks again for joining us, and good night.